Right, so last class we looked at the trap and roll. Today we're going to look at some details on the hip escape. So for the hip escape, it's important that we set ourselves up properly. You know, whenever we're underneath mount, as always, I need to be making sure that I'm keeping my arms in tight, elbows in tight, so it's not just making it easy for him to attack them. For the hip escape, I need him to be light on his legs and light in his hips. If he's sitting up like he is right now, the hip escape just isn't going to work because he's just too heavy over the top of my hips. So I need him to come forwards. What we certainly don't want to be doing, which I see pretty often, is reaching up, grabbing your partner's gi and pulling your partner forwards. Because as soon as those arms leave the body, he's going to be on him and attacking him. A better way to get my partner forwards is to raise my hips up and give him just a little bump with my knee in the back, so it brings him forwards. Some of his weight's through his hands now, so it makes his hips a little bit lighter for me to work with. You sit back up again for a second there, Jack. So how we want to set up our arms to kind of minimize the danger. And when we're rolling with someone like Jack, minimizing the danger doesn't always work.
We'll get them arms.
Yes, but we want to try to minimize it as much as we can. So when we make our frame, we're going to make a frame across the hips here. We want to make sure that the elbow is like sticking out on this side. We don't want to be like so far across that my elbow's here, so we can start making his way up the side of the body. So that's the first thing. I want to make sure that my frame is here, but my elbow's controlling this far hip. My second frame is going to come in. We're going to place it over the top of the hand. And really, really important that I keep my elbow to the inside of the knee. What I don't want to be doing is like flaring the elbow like this. So either number one, he can bring his knee up and start getting to like, or trap over the top, or bring his knee up into the armpit and start working his way up into a high mount. Oh yeah. Or if I flare out that elbow, he can underhook with this arm. So he goes through the gap and starts working the arm up, and then I'm in trouble again. So elbow sticking out to the side, elbow to the inside, and making that frame. So let's say we've got our partner forwards. I also need to make sure that my legs are to the inside of his legs. If he's got a hook with this leg, I'm not going to be able to make my escape work because this is the leg that I need to be getting underneath. So I need to loosen that up, I need to get this leg flat to the floor, and I'm going to just lift and turn slightly. I'm not going to turn like to the side like this because again I'm going to give up my back. So just slightly and get my knee down to the floor. If I can, I want to work my knee up high enough so I'm attacking at the ankle area here. So not like really low where I've just turned to the side and we're nowhere near the ankle. We want to be just here. So once we've got everything into position, our next goal is to make sure that we get this leg over the top of our leg. So a few different ways that we can do that. We might be able to just use the elbow to push down and just slide the knee up underneath. Really important that we use that sort of double action though. So the elbow goes down and the knee comes up. Another way that I really like is to take this top leg over the top and hook, and we're going to drag the foot over the top, push down and get hold of the knee. Or another way that you might have seen before is that we can hook underneath the leg like this. Hook underneath the foot, lift, so I can take my leg out and through. So usually day one, I teach the hip escape to get ourselves to close guard for this. A better option, I think, as you move up through the ranks is to go straight into underhook or knee shield. But for beginners, it's really productive for them to work the hip movement. So that's what we're going to go for first. So we're going to start to move, frame on our partner so he doesn't just completely drop his weight down. We're going to move to the opposite side. Using my elbow to push his knee apart, I'm going to bring my knee through the space. Then I'm going to catch this arm. Really important that I catch this arm, because otherwise he's just going to be able to use that hand to push down and jump back up over the top. So I'm going to catch the arm, move my hips back to the other side. So I create some space on the far side. Number one option, we just pull out and go back into close guard. See how much hip work I've had to use there. So again, for beginners, that's really important for us to understand. Or if you want to add like the little option to come over the top and hit a telephone arm bar off that, then you can as well. So again, one more time, we need our partner to be light, so we pull him forwards with the knee. Set up your frames correctly. Elbow on the far side, elbow to the inside, little bump, little turn, and we're looking to bring the knee right to the inside underneath the ankle. If we can just push down, slide over the top, great. My favorite one is just to hook the leg, push through until we get the knee to the inside. Keep the knees nice and pinched. The last thing we want to do is we've done all this work, be loose with this and just allow him to step back up over the top. So nice good pinch, moving the hips, using your elbow to create the space. Knee comes through, take the arm with you. Again, a nice big movement of the hips to create the space. Foot comes out, either close guard, or if you want to stay on the arm for the telephone arm lock, you can. So let's just start with that, and then we'll look at some other ways we can hit that hip escape, and some ways that we can deal with him trying to stop us from doing that hip escape. All right, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. More of the version that I would look for if I'm doing this escape, which is not going for the full guard position, but coming out into a more half guard position. So I pull my partner forwards, get everything in place, turn to the side, and get that initial trap here. So my preferred way to deal with this position is get myself to the knee shield first. Some people like to go straight for the underhook here. The only reason I don't particularly like just going for the underhook here is because I don't put anything between me and my partner, and I can't immediately get up to my elbow unless he just gives me loads and loads of space. Yes, I could go underhook and start turning in, but if he puts his weight down or even like switches his base and brings this arm, he completely kills the underhook. If he stays flat, I could maybe start to work under and start going for like old school sweep plan Bs. But I prefer to get the knee shield in first. So I make my frames, bring the shield in, elbow goes underneath the knee, hand onto the shoulder, and I'm going to block this hand so he's not able to easily get a grip on my gi or go in for the cross face. Now what this shield allows me to do is keep this space between me and my partner. So as I kick the leg through and I swim for the underhook, there's that space for me to follow up onto my elbow. Now once I get up onto my elbow, I've got room to start working. We're going to keep this pretty simple because it's more of a mount escape video, but we're going to trap the leg, come up into the dogfight position, and then just a nice simple knee tap and drive into my partner and through. Yeah, whether we get the pass or not, or whether we just get to the top position, that's certainly better than we were before. So again, we pull our partner forwards, we make the frames, turn to the side, trap the leg, and we get to this initial half guard position. Number one option, just shoot straight for the underhook, start turning in towards your partner. We can start lifting, maybe looking for old school sweep. My preferred option is to use my arm frames. Bring the shin in, elbow underneath my knee for extra support, and block any cross faces. Kick the leg through, up into my underhook and up onto my elbow. What we're going to work is just getting to that dogfight position. So we're going to bring our leg to the inside of the ankle, start to drag the leg out, come up to my knee. On this arm, if this arm isn't wizard, we can just pop, we come out straight to the back. Or if he whizzes the arm, this is going to always be the better option. Tap the knee, drive into my partner, and we take the top position. So one more time. Frames in, turn, work for the escape. Frames, bring the knee shield in, bring the elbow under, so we've got the extra support. What we don't want Jack to be able to do is really use that shoulder and pull my knees together. Here like this. Kick through, up onto the elbow, up to the dogfight, drive through into the top. So the first way works great into the closed guard, but like I said, I use it normally because it allows beginners to really get that feel for the movement of the hips, which all beginners need. This, for me, is a much more high percentage way to get ourselves back into a good position after being underneath mount. Okay, let's do it. 1, 2, 3. Just the last little section on this. We've tried to cover as many bases as we can as we're trying to make the escape. We're trying to keep this elbow tucked so we can't get the knee up high, can't get the underhook. We're trying to use the elbow to block the hip so he's not able to come up into the technical mount. But one way that he can be at least difficult in this position is by making the leg like super heavy on the side that I want to make the escape. So I put all my frames in place, I turn to the side, I'm getting this leg in a position, but he goes real heavy on this leg. So when I try to drag it over the top, it doesn't become, it's not easy to do. But there's no way that he can put more of his weight to this leg without this far leg becoming a little lighter. So if he starts, like he's in normal mount, he's at 50-50. When we turn to the side and he goes extra heavy, let's say he's gone like 70-30. Because this is now 30%, it gives me a window to start moving my hips back in towards it. On the last video, we looked at this a little bit. So anytime my partner shifts the weight, it's a little easier for me to push my hips in towards it. So we're going to use the frames that we've already got. We're going to push in and we're going to move the hips back in towards the legs so we create the space. Bottom knee is going to come through. Top foot is going to come onto the hip so that we're able to then maintain that space between me and my partner. And then whatever you want to work from here. If you're more advanced, you might go into X guard, different stuff. Like a nice simple way to deal with this, like we covered last time, is up onto the shoulder, kick our partner away, technical stand up, we come up to the top position and take the sweep. So all I want you to do this time is if you're the person in mount, when they try to go to attack this leg, just go heavy to the leg on the side that they're trying to attack. Use your frames, move your hips back, knee comes through, foot goes onto the hip for the single leg. Underneath the leg, push away, kick up onto the shoulder, sweep, pass. All right, so person on top, you're extra heavy on the leg they're attacking, and then let's use our hips to attack the other leg. 1, 2, 3, last one, let's do it.